Audio recording for this meeting has begun.
So, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to today's EMOS webinar, Introduction to Big Data in Official Statistics. My name is Heli Lehtimäki, and I am talking to you from Eurostat in Luxembourg, where this session is hosted. According to the registration, we seem to have many new participants, so let me explain you very briefly the EMOS context to these webinars. EMOS stands for the European Master in Official Statistics, which is a joint project of data producers and 23 universities in 15 countries to provide postgraduate education in official statistics at European level. Many of you in our audience are students or professors from EMOS or other universities, colleagues in the National Statistical Institutes and central banks, or just fans of statistics from different walks of life. Now let me explain you briefly how we run these sessions. As a participant, you can watch and listen the talk. Do not switch your webcam on. For interaction, you can share your views and questions in the public chat room and use signs on top of your screen. At the end of the session, you can download the presentation and I will send you the link to the recording later. And now it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Markus Zwick. Markus works for the Statis, the Federal Statistical Office in the beautiful town, even if cloudy today I hear, beautiful town of Wiesbaden in Germany, an institute for research and development in official statistics. He is also a renowned academic who holds the position of an honorary professor for statistics in Goethe University in Frankfurt. Most of all for EMOS though, the project might not even exist unless it wasn't for Markus, who set the project in motion a few years ago while he worked here in Eurostat. He did a wonderful job in building the basics from which I have been able to continue his job since last summer. And now Markus is contributing to EMOS in a very different role. So much for me talking. Let us move on to the topic of the day, and Markus, floor is yours.
Thanks, Haley, and thanks for your wonderful words. Yeah, I will also welcome all the participants. Yesterday I got an email from Haley that 242 participants are registered for today. Yeah, welcome to this session in Big Data. Maybe to start with some words about me. I'm working here in the Statis, in the Federal Statistical Office of Germany since 1996, and first in text statistics, so I worked a lot with administrative data at the beginning. Later I was responsible for microdata access, and I was responsible for the research data center called in Germany Forschungsdatenzentrum, FDZ. And after 10 years of doing that, I was 4 years in Eurostat in Luxembourg. It was a wonderful time, but now it is also fine to be back here in Wiesbaden. And since last summer, I'm responsible, beside other topics, for big data and for new ideas to implementing new digital sources into the production of official statistics. And today I will give you an introduction about the topic. And you will see on my first slide our building. This is the Federal Statistical Office building here located in Wiesbaden. Today cloudy, not so wonderful blue sky, what you see on the picture. And I am today on the 10th floor, a little bit behind this one tree. There I'm sitting and present this issue today. All in all, we have in the Federal Statistical Office around 2,500 colleagues. 1,800 colleagues are working here in Wiesbaden, and we have 2 other destinations, one in Berlin with around 100 employees and 500 colleagues work in Bonn. Yeah, that's some words around, and then I will start with this introduction. Today I will give you an overview about big data. What is big data? What means big data for official statistics? And the last part should give a short view in the question how we should teach and talk about statistics in time of big data. But I will not work alone. I prepared for question, and so we have the possibility to discuss a little bit together. I have 4 slides with question, and then it is on you 5 minutes to discuss, and I know that a lot of groups are participating today, so you can discuss these topics in your group, and then please give me a chat, give me an answer. I could imagine there will appear some new ideas, and we can learn all from this discussion. That is the content for today. In June, I will then have in this second EMOS presentation for big data a deeper view in projects and some methods, but that will not be the issue today. Today, I will give you an overview. And I will start with something what you all know, that the world has really changed in times of new digital sources in the IT revolution. And as example here you see a picture from the square in front of the Peter Cathedral in Rome during the election of the Pope in 2005. And some years later, 2013, you see the same place, the same reason, also the election, this time for Franciscus. And you see the situation is completely different. Everyone do a photo. This was not the case in 2005, but it was the case in 2005. I assume that around, in minimum, the half has a mobile phone, but in the pocket. But 8 years later, they use it to do a photo. And 2005, it was possible to use this digital source as a signal of the mobile phone as the information how many people are in this crowd. And if the case that we had this data, we could really calculate how many people were there. But 8 years later, we have some more information in the cloud. I assume in minimum the half sent on WhatsApp or uploaded in Facebook photos from this event. So we had also, besides the mobile phone information, a lot of information in social media. And for that, we are in a complete new situation today, that we have a lot of different data every time around us. And what is really different compared to situation 50, 20 years ago, we are every time data producer. We are not longer only user of data. We currently permanently produce data. Here this webinar is in the cloud, and also here we produce data, and we could analyze that. Here are some other examples where we every day produce data. When we need money, we use these machines. We have a communication with this machine, cameras. We have cash tills. We pay at the internet. We buy by Amazon. A lot of data appear in this way. Smart meter, a new technology, currently not used in each country, but we will see latest in 5 years in each European country we will have this kind of smart meter to measure power. And then we are in the middle of the next information revolution, Internet of Things. Then it will be possible that the freezer or the wash machine communicate with this smart meter, and we can measure every time what kind of machine used power in a household or also in the enterprises. Vessels identification data, the same what we have in our cars. Most the time the systems knows where we are when we are sitting in a car or here in ships. And really a big amount of data and very, very interesting data sources. We will see it later and in deep then in the June session, what we can do with mobile phone information. And currently we are only thinking to use the signal when a mobile phone is in a cell where the communication then is possible, to use this data for routing or other statistic, besides to use all the information coming from mobile phone to mobile phone. Only in the first step to use the data, what the data a mobile phone provider gets as information where the mobile phone is currently located. Yeah, some other example what we see today as application based on these new data sources. And here one example coming from a mobile phone data. Colleagues in France analyzed here this dynamic population. And if you need, you will find here the address on YouTube. It is a short movie. Also in June I will present some movies and then we can also come back to this example. They analyzed mobile phone cell information, means how many people are with a mobile phone switched on in a cell who registered this mobile phone. And you see here the lights of blue, when it is darker then the population is higher. And you can really locate it all the big cities in France, and here in Paris you have the highest density of population. Please have a view on the date under French, and you can see this is the density of population on a Wednesday in May. I hope that's right, without my glasses, in May, and a normal working day. And what we see when we analyze mobile phone data, that this new data give us a new insight of something what we have used a long time ago, population. It's a normal thing that we analyze population and we mean we understand what population is. But I learned a lot from especially this movie to see that population is really a dynamic part, because here we have the same picture, it's a starting picture, but now here you see another day, here the normal Monday, and here it's a day in the week, and on a weekend, and you can see it's a Saturday that the population is not longer located in the big cities, it is more in the land around, in the area around. And you can do this analysis also for the day and for the nights, and you see you have a day population and you have a night population. That is really different. And also this moving from centers around big cities where people most of the time sleep to come back then in the cities to work. You can also then analyze commuter and how they use streets or other kinds of mobility to come then into the center to work there. And we can analyze it if we have all this data, and we can do it on a legal basis. It is not all times the case currently. When it is, and we can do it really in small areas, smaller than what we ever measured in a household survey or other. And here, last example, this is the population during the summertime and during holidays. Here you see it is a day in June. And the people not longer are in the cities and not in the area around, they are all at the coasts. And here we have a third different picture in this analysis. First we saw all the people during working time in the cities, then during the weekend out of the cities, and now all on the coast. And it gives us a completely new insight. Maybe we know it before, but now we can really measure and describe it by data, that population is really a flexible thing, and that the people are not every time located on the same places. And this information, especially how population moves, is important for many things. Also again, population mapping by using the mobile phone data. Now an example from our colleagues in Belgium. And they compared first population data from their census in 2011. And then for one day in the week, 8 October, for the same year, around 4 o'clock in the evening, how many mobile phones are registered in one mobile phone cell. And they got this both density picture. And then they calculated the correlation coefficient and got a value of 0.85. That means that it's really an estimation based on mobile phone data to the density of the population based on the census data. But behind that, we have a lot of problems. Before we could really include this kind of data into official statistics, a lot of challenges are to be solved. We have a lot of problems in the data, the quality, not all people have a mobile phone, and sometimes they switch it off, and then in the morning they switch it on. There are a lot of work for us as official statistic to use this data then in official statistic, but it's a starting point to see we can do a lot with this data, and in feasibility studies to use this data to link it with other data sources, to learn from this data, to bring it step by step into the production of official statistic. But the way to do that is on different ways for countries across. Another example for what a mobile phone did.
Markus, can I interrupt you a moment, if you let me? Because we have somebody who says it's unclear, and it might help if you freeze your webcam.
Okay.
Do you know how to pause your webcam? Because then the sound you don't move anymore, so that might help the quality of the voice.
Okay, but now that is without picture. No?
Well, okay, you could have also kept the picture, but let's try it with a voice like this for a while, and then let's see if that helps.
I should close my webcam, is your proposal. Okay, so, is it better now?
I would have said that. Well, let's go on for a while and let's see what happens.
Okay. My last point was we saw some example to use mobile phone data to describe population at different times, but we have also some application across Europe who use official statistics, NSIs who used mobile phone data for tourism statistics. Often we can get this information for a mobile phone provider from which country a SIM card comes, and for that we can then see when tourists move in the country what they visit, and also we can use it for this purpose. I assume that we will see some more possible application in the future when we are deeper in this kind of data. Another example where we have really new possibilities to use data are satellite data. And here an example presented by Google on a workshop, UN workshop on big data and official statistics last year in Dublin, and I was really surprised to hear that Google that in this direction, because one of our ideas in mind when we talk about big data in enterprises, that this often is a secondary project, a product, not really the key business of this enterprise. That is information in the flow. Mobile phone enterprises offer communication, and as secondary effect we can use the signal for statistical purposes. But here Google started really to be a data producer, clearly in a competition to that what our business is, to produce data. And they presented the idea based on satellite data to use this, for example, to develop business cycle. And the idea is, as the Google presented this last year, a presenter said Google has 4 own satellites in space. You can use it. And for that, that means they cannot so often fly over a haven. But the idea is to have more than hundreds in the future. They start this year a lot of satellites to the space. And then it is a possibility to fly more times a week, maybe time a day, over havens, and then to enumerate how many ships are there, how many containers are there. And that is really an information what you can use for business cycle indicators. And the next step will be that the container can identify them by themselves and in the area of Internet of the Things, so then we can also see from where a container comes and where a container goes. And here, next picture, and you see the situation is different, and when this is one day in the week, and this is another day in the week, and for that, when you have a longer time period with this kind of picture, you really can develop a business cycle indicator based on that. Another example what Google presented in this workshop was this. They fly over countries who produce oil and calculated how many oil is archived in tanks, and depend to the time when the satellite fly over the tanks, you have shadows around these tanks, and based on the angle, then you can calculate how big an angle and the distance from one side to the other side. Then you can calculate how big this tank is, and they have all a flexible roof lying direct on the oil, and when the tank is more or less empty, then the roof is deep in this tank, and then you have an inside shadow, and again you can calculate how full this tank is, and so you have really a good estimate how many oil archived, and you have satellites who fly each day over these fields, then you have an indicator how many oil is archived today. That is really important information. And so you can realize directly on market. Another important news source is the internet. And here a picture of the 1 internet minute. I like this picture, but it's old. It is from 2013. And they did estimation for 2017, more or less. That is near the reality what we have today. But you see how many different information are on the web. And yeah, we are searching for methods to use this information. I will give later some examples how to do it. one estimation for this year in 2013 was that today in 2017 we have around 3 times more connected devices than people on Earth. That means around 25 billion connecting things with information from one thing to the other. And since 2013, a lot of data increasing has done, and other example is then not so nice as picture, but I lost one slide. I have it here, but not in this package. Okay, then we will come to the first question. Now you have 5 minutes to discuss and to give me a response what you think. What are the main characteristics of big data? You saw some examples, mobile phone data, satellite data, and that we have a lot of information on the web pages what we can use. But what do you think are the main characteristics? What is big data? Then I will give you some information about definition what we have in official statistic or what was developed on different places to describe this phenomenon. It's not yours. The floor is for you.
Markus, while we are waiting for the answers from the participants, what you could try to do with your webcam is to put it on, but put it on pause. You see, like mine now, if you see it, one can see a face, but I have instead of that you can see me moving like this, you click on the left low corner and it says pause, and then we can see your.
I can't see you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You can't see me.
Yes.
Oh, then there is
now I see
on my end.
In a static way. Yes. Okay.
Now you. Oh,
yes. Yeah.
Static way. So you can do the same if you switch your webcam on. You start sharing, but then you put it on pause.
No, I have not this option. I haven't pulled down menu on my webcam. It's green light and then stop or start sharing, select camera and preferences.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to start sharing, select camera.
And the participants in the meantime are very welcome to start putting on the chat room answers to the question that you see on the screen. So now, Markus, we can see you. And if you pause the picture, if you go to you put your mouse on top of your image, you go to the down left corner and there is a pause sign there.
Okay, works.
And then now you're, voila.
Perfect.
Then we can see your face, even though you don't move, and I think that we can still keep the sound quality a little bit better. So the bandwidth of the internet is not going to the webcam movements, but is concentrating on your voice.
Exactly.
So Markus, I think you posed a good question because we are getting lots of answers on the chat room. Huh?
A lot of expertise around here.
Are you able to analyze all this while all this
yeah,
is
I
coming
hope
in?
I will get this comment then, and I will use it.
But you are the expert, so you understand what they're saying. That is very good.
You will see that some of them will come in my next slides.
Ah, we have anticipated something. Very interesting. And in the meantime, just a short note, we have 83 participants at the end of the day. We started with, I think, 70 or so at 16:30, and there have been people joining us in the course of your lecture.
Yes, Statistic, and yeah, I assume that we have more than one person behind one address. So we are more than 100 today.
How many do you know do you have? In the Statis multiple room, how many people would you have?
Exactly. Maybe I could get an answer from my colleagues who are in another building today. I assume 5 to 7.
Oh. Okay, very good.
Six participants. Thanks. Yeah, it's a wonderful example for sharing knowledge to get all these answers and these different links to these digital sources.
So Markus, do you find all your expected answers in this rich feedback, I would say? Yeah?
I think it is really an added value, these comments from all the participants, because we all can learn from that.
I will share the recording with my colleagues of Big Data Task Force, who these days are my next door neighbors in the as office corridors.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it would be nice to get all these comments because we have next week our task force meeting here in Wiesbaden. And then the colleagues who are participating in this working group will be here, and then I can share these comments. I think we all know more or less what is behind, but to see these different views, and that's really interesting.
Markus, your voice disappears sometimes, so make sure that you speak well to the microphone. Huh?
Yeah. You have seen I have it direct from my mouth.
Okay, don't swallow it.
It's the same what you see on the picture.
Okay.
Okay, we should continue because we can continue this discussion the whole afternoon. Yeah, thank you very much. Really a lot of interesting comments. I saw two remarks that this data could use to make money. Why not? And a lot of comments to big data, so you will find the idea that this is the oil of the 21st century, and I agree to that. We can do a lot, and we can learn a lot from this data for commercial purpose, but also for research purpose and to give politicians better data for decision making. A lot of things are possible based on these new digital sources, and I fully agree to Daniel's comment that this is another data sources, and the whole value will appear when we bring it in the combination to survey data and administrative data, and that is for me our big positive field what is on the information market for official statistics. We are currently the only data producer who can combine, for example, census data with administrative data and maybe then digital data sources. And that is our big opportunity for the future, to find combination of data to describe reality in social and economic fields. Yeah, we heard also in a lot of comments the main used definition, the 3 V's: volume, large amount of data, velocity, speed in which new data arise, are available, can be proceed. But one remark, this speed of the data mean also that things that are today interesting, tomorrow old. This data can change fundamentality. We saw this in the market of mobile phone information, that a lot of people used SMS to communicate. But 2 years later, no one write SMS. We all, most of us, used WhatsApp for this kind of communication. Another field is we are really interested to get closer connection to enterprises who are responsible for credit cards, and where the business is credit cards. And it would be interesting to get this information generated by credit cards for different purposes. Household statistic, price statistic, we could use that. But maybe in 1 year, when we have cooperation and agreements with these enterprises, no one will longer pay with a credit card, because then we all use our mobile phone data to pay our bills. This is something what we should have in mind, that things who are possible today and what we can do today, maybe tomorrow is not longer possible. It's really this is a situation to be a lot of more flexible than we are today. Big data is more than this 3 V's. Full agree to the comments, gave this remark in the discussion. behind volume is really, when you see what here is written, how big is. The interesting number here in this picture for me is that 90% of all data are not older than 2 years. And that will also the case in 2 years. And that gives us a picture how big data is and how big these new digital sources increase in really short time. Verity is another issue for us as statisticians. Normally we expect data as numbers, and now we saw it in the example for satellite data. We get picture, we get other kinds of measurements, and we have to transform that in information to make better decisions. And velocity, interesting here for me is how many data are produced in this large hadron collider in the CERN Institute, and what the physics do with data. They have really big data. When you see 35 gigabytes each second are produced in this large hadron. But 3 V's are not enough. I like this presentation from Diego. He was one of the keynote speakers in March during the NTTS in Brussels, and he presented this example of 5 V's. And Eli, I can't see my slide complete. Have you done everything? And yeah, that's better. Yeah, everything is fine. He described big data over 5 V's, the traditional, and I can say traditional in this field, V's volume, velocity, variety to describe big data, and he added veracity and value to make big data usable for official statistics, and he gave us a definition that veracity and value are the qualification for use characteristics of big data. So we have first characteristics who are essentially for big data, but that was also what one participant gave us as comment. There's a lot of noise in this amount of data, and it is our task to create information based on this big noise around the information. And here is veracity and then value, and really important issue. And for that, I like this idea from Diego to have here this 5 V's. Behind these 5 V's, we have a lot of different kind of data. And we saw some of them in the example at the beginning. We have this communication data coming from mobile phone data, social media. Remember my first example with a crowd on Peter Dome. First time, I assume a lot of people had mobile phones in their pocket, but then year 2013, a lot of them used their mobile phone to photos, and I assume a lot of them posted it on social medias. Then we have the whole information on the web. Web searches, business websites, e-commerce websites, job advertisements, real estate websites give us a lot of possibilities to get information for statistical purpose. We had a really interesting meeting 3 weeks ago here with colleagues coming from the Dutch statistical office and data provider, a startup who collect a lot of enterprise data direct from the web. They use web crawling for that. That means to get all information from the website that different to that what we know as web scraping, where we collect single information from a website, web scrolling, collect the whole information. And they transform this information in structured data for enterprises. And for Germany, they have in this data collection more than 10,000 pages for German enterprises, and that all we have around 3 million enterprises and then 10 million websites. It is really an interesting thing to think about how we can use that and to go forward in feasibility studies to compare this data with the data what we have with enterprise data. Can we add information? Can we improve our register? Can we link enterprise data from different sources to get a whole picture of the whole business in Germany or in sensors will come rapidly as an additional sources of big data. We saw some application 2 years ago, and I remember we saw first application to use sensor data from the Dutch colleagues at the NTTS in 2013, where they presented first results of a feasibility survey. Smart meters will come in Germany. It will need some time. It's normally not included yet. Vessel identification, satellite images, process-generated data, crowd scoring, community picture collection, the same. Also you can find on social media like YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp. Big data deluge, really different kind of data, and our task is it to understand all this different kind of data before we can really implement this data in to results of official statistics or to produce official statistics, and that it is a big task what we have on the desk as official statistician. Another kind of classification for big data did the UNECE in one of their working groups, and you see there I add the web addresses, the button of this slide. There you can find more detailed information about that. And they built 3 big groups of big data. First, the group social networks, where people communicate with people, human-sourced information. The second big group is when people connected with machines. And the third big group is the Internet of Things, where machine communicate with a machine. And then to bring the different sources, what we currently know, what data are accessible to these 3 groups, and did this kind another way to classify big data sources. So now we will come to the next question for you. It is again part to a little bit think about what that all means for official statistics. We saw some examples of these new digital sources. We saw some definition how we can make it more visible to understand these new data sources. And now I'm interested to get your response for this question. What all that mean for big data, for official statistics? What are the benefits and what are the efforts and difficulties when we think about using big data for official statistics? Hi, Heliot, are you still there?
I am still here, but I'm wondering if you are still here, because it was a moment of quiet.
Okay, fine.
I can hear you. Please go on. But I still can't hear
Oh,
you.
no, I don't
so
talk.
Are you talking?
I asked the participants with my last slide what they think about the influence of big data on official statistics, especially the question, what are the benefits and what are the efforts and difficulties?
Very good. Apologies because I have not been fully focusing on the content of your presentation because I'm very busy with my own statistics here. Trying to track who actually is present and who isn't, and so that at the end we have a little bit a clearer overview of the behavior of this population. So voila, so far so good. Another interesting question, I see.
Wow. Hello to Lisbon, 30 to 40 participants.
Wow, I must say wow too. This will make a gigantic leap in my statistics, huh?
Wow, wow, wow. A lot of really, really good comments. Also, again, here, we need time to analyze that all. And I will share it next week to the ESS data task force.
Marcus, in terms of timing, we are now at 17:25.
Yeah,
we are. No, I'm just asking that. Is it okay till 18
yeah,
hours?
yeah.
You're okay with that?
If the participants interested to follow longer than 6 o'clock, no problem on my side. Yeah, thanks a lot for all your really, really good comments. And yeah, I'm on the optimistic side. That is the reason why I asked for efforts and difficulties, for challenges and not for problems. I think that is our task, to answer most of the question what you are comment here, to really understand this data. My view is, that is my personal view to big data, we need time to understand this data. We need time to change legal rules. We need time to explain our users, also respondents, what we do with this data. But we can do that. We will not have a new situation next year in 2 years. And for that, I really like this roadmap, the ESS roadmap, with this perspective behind 2020. We have solved all problems and we have implemented, I can later to that, these new digital sources to produce official statistics. For the next years, 2 or 3 years, my personal view, we are, beside some example in some countries where the things are different, we will be on feasibility studies to learn on this data, to see all the challenges, to understand the data, and that is for me a main topic, not to work with black boxes. We have really complete to understand the genetic process of this data, especially when we will link this data to survey data or administrative data. And all that need time, and we have to do that step by step. But most of them I have it on my next slides. Thank you again for your wonderful and really, really good comments to that, and we will really use all this comment. And maybe I can do to bring it closer together what you answered today. Then I will present it in the big data course in let me say something about official statistic before I come to the influence of big data to official statistic, to discuss what official statistic is and what it means. Because here we are different to other data producers. Make it maybe something slower and produce results based on this new digital sources, but it is an important issue. We are professional independents. We are not dependent to market success or to the government. That is a key idea of official statistics, how we do that in the European statistical system. That we first professional independent. Then second, that we have a mandate for data collection. We have legal rules, what we do in official statistics. Sometimes it is not too easy to work with data with these rules, but there are really good reasons why it is necessary to have a mandate for data collection, especially when we ask enterprises and people and they have to answer to our questions. That we have here clear data rules, what government institution can ask people, households, and enterprises. We have a clear benchmark and understanding of quality. And that have to be also the case when we use new data sources from my point of view. That is what I mentioned before, that we should produce data when we have black boxes. We have to understand the whole process, how data are, appear, how they are produced. We are empirically objective. We have a sound methodology. We try not to have a too excessive burden of response, and here is really a benefit. We can use other data. We started with administrative data. A lot of problems what we have, selectivity, not an influence, how variables are definite. We saw it also by administrative data. But to reduce the burden of respondents was also the case by administrative data, and that is also something what we hope when we use more data from digital sources, timeliness and punctuality. Also really, really important is so sometimes not so clear when I discuss it with my students. Often they don't understand what really is behind that. But that means that we have clear dates when we publish new results, independent from the political climate or from election. There is a clear line. We have data, and we publish that. And all that, some the points of our code of practice, you see it on the right side. That means what official statistic in the European statistical system is, and that is a benchmark introducing quality data, and that is something what we have to, where we have to keep on also when we have data sources. That is our frame in which we produce data. So, and last, third question, but we can discuss it and to the time a little bit faster. And my question is, and the additional point, what official statistic is behind code of practice and benchmark how we produce quality official statistic, is that we are public goods. And for that, there is a question, should we go in a competition to new data producer like Google? Official statistic means they are no reliable goods. Everyone can use this good, and we do it as an infrastructure, and as an information infrastructure, informal infrastructure for the pupils, for the society, for politicians, for researchers. And when there are enterprises who can do that, maybe better, faster than official statistics, should we go then a little bit behind to give this field to official data producer, or should go official statistic in competition to this new data producer? Is that true? Yes, everything is okay. I asked the question again, really.
Sorry.
Is still everyone there outside?
I see that we have multiple attendees
Yes,
are typing,
course.
so I suppose it takes a moment, a thought to develop, and then it takes another few minutes to type it in. So without too many typos, people are very good at all this. And you see, Markus, that our support staff here created us a separate new chat box, so we can collect these answers and record them properly, so you can then work them through in more detail.
Of course, Daniel, I fully agree to that. And I think that is our positive impact in the information market, that we can combine new data sources with our other data sources and compare the quality of this data and understand data better than other data producers who work with this data without our deep insight in our data can't do that. One problem what we have here, Walter Rademacher gave here a wonderful picture, what I have in mind with that. Some data producers don't produce data on this level of quality what we do. But he find the example that also sometimes people like McDonald's more than a French cuisine. And both helps me in a moment when I need food or when I need some information. A little bit we are in this situation. Okay, thanks again for your feedback. We will also use that, and I will see how we can summarize that and to bring that then back in the community, first in the ESS community, but then also in the EMOS community, what we got here as a really valuable response from all of you. Yeah, possible benefits of big data for official statistic. After we have done our homework, we hope that we will get faster results. Now casting is a keyword here to use data, service, administrative data in combination with new digital sources to make estimation on direct point today, nowcasting named. Lower costs, that we can produce some results with less resources. Higher precision. Here I think there is really a big benefit when we can use this data for us, when we have to get really better results for small groups. For example, like a freelancer at the countryside, maybe rich household behind that. That's really small groups, and small groups are each time a big problem in service, in sample service, to get an insight there. Also in a combination with service, and we can use these new digital sources for small area estimation to get covariance, to make estimations, then also for smaller groups. Also for small areas like the next street behind the corner, when we really can use mobile phone data, then we will really get a deep inside view in areas the same when we use satellite data. Completeness and really a big benefit, less burden for the response. So the hope is that we will be maybe in 10 years better, faster, cheaper. But on the other side, we have a lot of challenges, a lot of tasks to solve, the way to get the benefits of this data. And one really big issue is here the quality issue, to understand the process how the data are generated. Privacy, legal constraints. For Germany, the case, we can't do that all without change our legal rules. And that is a process, this process needs time. To talk with the lawyers, to talk with the politicians, to the ministries, to give us here the power to do that with them together, to further develop our legal rules in Germany to include these new digital sources into official statistics. Another really important issue is the permanent access, the access to the data and then the permanent access to the data. We see that in different cases in our working group for mobile phone data. It is my own experience in the communication with mobile phone enterprises. They are not really happy to give us data, because then we could get in competition to that what they currently do. And we have some example for mobile phone enterprises who use really intensive their mobile phone data, let's say, for other purposes than their main business. Here you have the hope also then that legal rules will further develop in the future, and it is imagined that we will have in 5 years the rules that these enterprises have to give copies of their data for official statistics. Permanent access is the same when we get data from a startup or from mobile phone enterprises and the market change. New enterprises are on the market, the old one are not longer there. Here we have to find realization ways that we have really permanent access to this kind of data. Competition on the information market that we had on the slide before, and we have competition for the best brains. How we can get good educated statistician for the next generation of official statistician. We'll come back to this issue later. Yeah, what do we mean big data further for official statistics? We come from finite population sampling, and now we have some more. And what really is more or less new that we will use more models producing official statistics, that we not really measure all things, that we estimate some more, and that we find especially combination of data to build up reality in social and economic areas with models. From designer of data collection processes to designers of statistical products. And one business, maybe for the future, discussed in some working groups, it could be that official statistics gives accreditation and certification if other data producers do their job on the same rules what we do, to accept the code of practice and our quality ideas as benchmark for their own products, and that official statistics would give them certification that this data producer do that. That could be a new business field for official statistics in the future. Yeah, what has additional changed in the new world of digital data is the way how we produce data. In the past, the normal production process of statistical results was that we had a survey. We produced, based on the questionnaire, the statistical results. We had a one-to-one relation. The situation today is that we have a lot of different data sources, multiple sources, and different data sources. We have a kind of data warehouse where we bring this data together, link this data, or use aggregate data with microdata. And then that we can use all this data for different statistic fields. We can use then this for population statistic, enterprise statistic, or national accounts. And when you imagine that we have full access to mobile phone data, there are a lot of different fields of statistics where we can use this data. On the other side, we could use a lot of different new data sources to describe households. And for that, we have multiple sources of data, and
multiple possibilities to use this data in combination of these different fields. And one comment mentioned it, one of the questions before, that we have now a combination, and that will be for the future really the big benefit for official statistics, and what we can do better than the market, because we have access to administrative data. Germany exclusive. Only official statistics can use this administrative data. We have our survey data, and now we have digital data sources named big data. And this will be the future to bring this three kinds of data together to describe phenomena in social and economic situation. And we will see that digital and survey data sources are generated then together, and that statistical modeling and that is behind. There are a lot of challenges behind. Record linkage, statistical matching. I think most of you know what for problems, for challenges are behind that, and what we have to do on work to go further here in this fields of methodology. Privacy, another really big challenge. Not only the legal rules, also the ethical question behind this data. The question, should we all do what we could do with this data? We will come in some situation in fields, the medicine know that problems, this challenge today, that sometimes they know more about their people than they know it about themselves. And this could be possible when we find a combination of different data sources for households, for persons, that we at the end know more about people than people know and want to know about themselves. There are a lot of literature that some data producer do that, Amazon and other, to get a more transparent picture of the people to offer products. And for us, here should be a clear barrier what we do and what we not do, but it is to discuss. From the data production view, there are some really pessimistic views. In the age of big data, all data are personal. Big data is there for the end of anonymity. We have to work hard on that. I really believe that what we have as tools to analyze, for example, microdata, could not be really the answer in the day where we have so much other different information about the same person or enterprises outside of official statistics, and we can use all this data to attack anonymized microdata when we give that outside to our offices. Here we have to do a lot. I think the European Data Protection Act gives us a new idea with privacy by design. That we think about privacy at the starting point in the statistic process, but a lot of work is to do in this field. Yeah, we started with that in official statistics. The first group who did that was the United Nations. Established a working group on that, a global working group on big data. Then in Europe, the starting point was UNECE, then together with NSIs and Eurostat, and the discussion further in the European statistical system, and now we have a lot of groups and task forces who work on this issue. The UN Global Working Group, also organized by international organizations, countries, OECD, Eurostat, World Bank, different task teams. That was the group who started really early, 2011, 2012, to ask the question what means big data for official statistics. and then followed, especially here in Europe, by the UNECE. They produced really early our first results in these fields. We saw this classification of big data that comes from this initiative. They described skills, what we need to work with big data. It was really an intensive activity in early years of the discussion big data in official statistics. Inside the European statistical system, really a starting point, can say it was a Scheveningen memorandum, where the general directors from the National Statistic Institutes from the ESS did the decision that we don't longer talk about should we use new digital data sources for official statistics, and change the question to how we do that, and what was really an important starting point with this Scheveningen memorandum. And based on that, Eurostat established an internal working group on big data, and this working group, together with partners inside the European statistical system, developed the big data action plan and roadmap. I mentioned it before, and I like this long-term vision. 2020, maybe for Germany, maybe 2025. In this situation, we have solved all challenges, and we use new digital data sources called big data for official statistics, and we have improved a lot of our statistics. We are faster, we are cheaper, and that all with less work for our respondents. But for that, we have a longer way to do. In the short-term objectives and in the medium-term aims, and we are now in the process started with this action plan and roadmap that we see a lot of ESS projects in the ESS net produce data, and it was really interesting to see this year at the NCTS that a lot of really difficult, detailed challenges appeared. 2 years ago, the discussion during the NCTS was really optimistic what all can be done with these new data sources, but now the project runs and we see a lot of things in the detail where we have to search for a solution. And I like it that we are really on the real problems now, and we go forward step by step, and that is what is to do in this field. Yeah, that's the projects who are running currently until 2018, and in the session in June I will give you a deeper inside view to this different big data projects. 2 package work with web scraping, one for job vacancies and one for enterprise characteristic. Another working group work on data smart meters. Oh, I have to stop 1 minute because my window's opened and then the sun will come in. Give me half a minute, please.
But Markus, I thought it was cloudy in Wiesbaden, no? But seems that there is some sunshine after all. Eh?
The jalousie do it automatically. So that it's not possible to stop it. Okay, another work on vessel identification data, mobile phone data, early estimates, multiple domains, and one established will start the work next week. ISNet on methodology. First 7 groups developed a lot of methodology questions.
Markus, now we hear you a little bit far, so put the microphone
is it better
where
now?
it used to be.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the running projects. currently, and as I mentioned, I will give you a deeper view inside this new work next time. Yeah, what do we here in Germany at Statis? Last year we established a section, Cooperation with Scientific Community, Microsimulation, Big Data. I'm responsible for this group, and this is my task after my EMOS task in Eurostat. I'm really happy to got these responsibilities and to do that all. First step was to develop a national big data roadmap based on that what the European Statistical System developed as a roadmap, and a lot of them what you will find in the European roadmap you find also here in the national roadmap. Yeah, what we do concrete, we are in a really good cooperation, started cooperation with the German Aerospace Agency, coming from the European Space Agency and the program Copernicus. Copernicus satellites, here we can use really interesting data in first feasibility studies. Also that I will show you a little bit more than in June. Gebäude 21 mean building 21. The idea behind that is to use satellite data to first build, to improve a register of buildings for whole Germany for census purpose, and especially to the permanent improving, then to use satellite data. Web scraping, scanner data, and the price statistics, and then we are in contact with a lot of different institutes here in Germany to get insights, to get knowledge, to get data. Here that is what I will show you next time.
Well, we are now at 17:58, so maybe you can wrap up in the next 5 minutes or so.
Last point, statistical education in times of big data, in the context of new digital data, and what means that for statistical education. What have you to do to educate first the next generation of statisticians, but also permanent training is an issue. It is not longer so that we can make the next step into new technologies when the old one go in pension and the new one come in. The cycle is really faster, and permanent training in the statistical offices is a big issue. And the European Master in Official Statistics is an important step in this direction. First, to educate the next generation of statisticians, not only for statistical offices, also in the context of statistical literacy, that some students get this information from data, how we use data, how they can interpret data in ministries, in research institutes, and for that my hope is that EMOS is more an education community to better educate the next generation inside the NSI, next generation of data user is my hope. And also that EMOS is an instrument for internal training, and I'm really happy to see and that was something what we had in mind as we developed EMOS, that we can use EMOS also for internal training inside the NSI. And when I see this webinar, it is really a success. How many NSIs participate on this webinar? Okay, now I'm also official statistician and I present that for official statistician, but we have also a lot of professors from universities who give courses here in this EMOS webinar, and that was the key idea, to get fresh knowledge from the universities direct in the NSIs, and for that EMOS is a wonderful instrument and it works well, what we see today. Depend to the time, I will go to the transformation of the statistician profile, because the knowledge what we need, and what we have to teach, what you have to use, so educate students and also staffs inside the statistical offices is different to that what we had in the past, and we need different competences. But the data scientist is not really the answer. It is not the case that one person have all the skills what we need to further develop our products. This data scientist is a team with specialized member skills and not only a single person. Also, the UNACE developed this part to describe competences, first for big data teams, and second for team leader, what they have in mind, what they should know. And we used this results coming from the discussions, the working group in the UNACE, as we developed together with universities and NSIs the curriculum and especially the learning outcomes of EMOS. But here it is really necessary that we permanent further develop this EMOS curriculum. Okay. One issue at the end also initiated from the UNEC, and you see they did a lot. Also here that was a starting point in 2014, I might remember, that they developed a sandbox for playing with data. Also that I have in mind to use it a little bit more in my own NSIs to educate colleagues in using new data sources, but we can use it also in the context of EMOS. But we have to see and discuss how we can use this data to have really a real application to trainee staffs and students. One last remark, having view to the ESTP program. This program in 2017 offer a lot of big data courses, and you see all these courses need 3 or 4 days. It's a full program. It's a lot more that compared to that what we can discuss here in 90 minutes. It is really an interesting program. You have access to all slides and presentations from this ESTP courses. You will find that under this address. And that's my last remark. There are a lot of sources on the web where you can find versus webinars about big data. One example is EDX. Another example is TED, where you can find a lot of talks where big data are discussed, but that are more talks. EDX is an example for full courses, long-time courses in different topics of big data. So now we have 10 minutes after 6 o'clock. I think that was really enough for all of us. And say thank you for your attention and for your active work and your comments. And I really will work on that to give you a response to the response in the next lesson to big data in June. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Markus, very much for this very interesting and I would say inspiring and rich conversation that you could have with the participants. I put here now the file download for everyone to see and to take the slides home. I will also send you the link to the recording of this session tomorrow, and I will upload the slides tomorrow on the website, so they will be there for you and for future generations. Let me see if I managed to get the slide here behave properly. It's about next webinar session, which takes place already next week on the 26th of April on the usual time at 16:30 Central European Time. And this time we will have a speaker from Eurostat, Dario Buono, who is a team leader for methodology in official statistics, who also was with us. I think it was the last webinar. He was one of the speakers of 3 when we talked about multi-source statistics. And this time the topic will be seasonal adjustment with G-Dimetra plus an introduction. So I would hope to see many of you back in a week's time. I hope you enjoyed this session for now with Markus, and we will see Markus back in the future as well. So thank you very much for your active participation. Thank you for Markus for good preparation and good delivery. And we see you hopefully next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you very much.